Hello and welcome to our episode of Continence Chat today. We have 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗏 Ackerman as our guest and wanted you to learn a little bit about him, his passions, what he's doing to raise awareness all around the world. And 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗏, you and I have never really sat down and met one another. I know you connected with Deanna over LinkedIn, and I was hoping that you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background and what you're doing today and how you're raising awareness for Parkinson's and helping people all around the world.
Thanks. First, I want to thank you both for your time and your audience. It means more than just, again, a 30-minute talk. It means the world to me and my family to shed light on this important topic. Unfortunately, I lost my mother due to Parkinson's disease on 1/1/2020. She was only 69 years old. I feel like she was, in a way, robbed of 15 years of her life because she had it for 15 and likely 15 or even more, after she passed. My background, I always had a passion to help victims of crime. So I started my career interning, worked at the prosecutor's office, then found that we just have too many cases to help victims like I wanted to. So I stepped into the field of law enforcement, became a police officer. Today I'm a reserve, but I found, again, you just had to hand a brochure and you got to move to the next call. So I was lucky enough to fall in love with the education field and teaching. I did my PhD in criminal justice, so I sat with a group for my dissertation, a group of African-American mothers who lost a loved one due to crime, specifically murder. And I've really dedicated my life before caregiving and the whole world of caregiving to other individuals like family members who are often forgotten by the criminal justice system. And in a way, I correlate that population with the Parkinson's community because until last year in December 2023, we'll try to get to in a moment, but there was never any law or anything from our government to help people with Parkinson's or those caregivers. But thankfully, and we're actually sitting here live during history, December last year, they passed the first bill in U.S. history called the National Plan to End Parkinson's Disease, and it's spearheaded by the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And I had the honor to speak to my representative. But now what's important is everyone listening, and you both can call, please, your senator and tell them and urge them that it's very important they sign on this year if it goes to the Senate. And then once it passes, the president will sign into law. It's going to change the world for people diagnosed, caregivers. It'll help with awareness, early diagnosis. It'll help find populations that aren't getting attention and shed light to them. So it's just amazing to be here with you both now because we're literally going through history. And I know one of you is in Florida, so both of our senators, I reached out personally, and they're both signed on. So I'm not sure where Susie you're located, but maybe you can also reach out to yours and all the viewers. But I'm really grateful again for both of your time today.
Well, thank you for that. I'm in Southern California.
We need you.
and I'm curious about this national bill. How would it change things from the way things are going now? Specifically,
Sure.
What can the family look for in that change?
And unfortunately, like when I was going through, we have nothing, like literally absolutely nothing from the government. Unfortunately, there's other diseases and things, they need help, but my mother's life meant something. My voice still matters. And about approximately 1 million people in the U.S. have it, 10 million around the world. And I'm even hoping if it passes in the U.S. that other countries can use it almost like a boilerplate and also pass it in their countries. But it will help dramatically increase federal funding. So right now there's not enough funding. Imagine a place where we can gain more grant money to help fund a cure even quicker. It also develop more effective pathways for treatment and a cure, improve early diagnosis, spark new and innovative models for patient care, create standards and measures to prevent it, address health disparities, and finally, like we're doing now, just enhance public awareness. So it's going to be literally tremendous change because, like I said, right now there's nothing except for what we're doing today.
No, I'm just curious, 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗏, if someone had a family member that maybe had some symptoms and they weren't sure how does someone recognize Parkinson's? What would be some of those beginning stages or things that maybe they should be looking for that would warrant a visit to the doctor?
I appreciate that, and it's interesting you bring it up because I've been doing a lot of research. I'm actually just releasing my first book on Parkinson's. I've written books, but not in this world, and it's coming out in April, I'm hoping, and it's in memory of my mother, but it's our journey, and then it shifts to my journey as caregiver to advocate today. And I actually, if I have time, I have the cover, which I haven't shared with anyone. It just showed up today. So let me just, I don't know if you'll even view it. This is going to be, it's pretty exciting. But this is the cover. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see, but it's going to be, that's the cover. So it'll be on.
Wow.
Actually, I thought that would be the end of it, but I've already sparked interest to have another book. I'm almost done with. But the reason I bring that up is a lot of my book takes someone into the deep, dark, and good, bad, and ugly of Parkinson's. My mother unfortunately had it for 15 years. I never really even knew what it was or even was aware, except for the name, till the last 4 years of her life. But towards the beginning, she just had trouble and stiffness in her left arm, so she had trouble cutting food when we would go to restaurants. But that didn't stop her from still, independently living. She drove, she had friends, she had a life. She was very independent. Unfortunately, towards the end, the fourth year, we tried everything. We went to 15 doctors around the world, tried everything. We finally decided to try a trial, and that's when her life really changed for the bad. She went to the trial, and that night she came back. I don't know to this day what happened, because the doctors say you don't die from Parkinson's, you die with it. But my mother had no other real medical issues. So she showed up back for that night from the trial, and I don't know if they really dramatically changed her medicines or whatever, but I got a call at 4 a.m. to rush over to her house, and I've trained for that, but not with your mother or a loved one. And I found her moving her furniture out of her house because she was in fear that Nazis were inside the home and they were going to harm her. And that's when we found out, I think, that point she had also gotten late onset dementia. So the hallucinations and the delusions were taking over. They said I saved her life that day, but that was really kind of, in a way, the downfall of everything. She went from someone walking 2 miles a day to someone who had to use a cane for 2 years, then from the cane to the walker, then the walker to the wheelchair, and finally bedbound. And over the last year was where I really had interest in your show, because that's where the stomach issues were horrific. I'd say almost 80% of a lot of the signs, I don't know if it's from the medications or the disease, just destroyed her gut and her stomach. We tried healthy eating, but after a certain point, I wanted her to enjoy life. And I just started getting her anything she loved. Her favorite was chocolate cake. But, again, they say you don't die from it. So I'm still kind of confused as to that. And, that's kind of, so the main symptoms was the stiffness, but then soon after came rigidity in the entire body. She had dystonia, which was the curling of the toes. And also, she didn't have the violent, in a way, external tremors that Mr. Michael J. Fox, the famous Canadian actor, has. She had more internal. But I was noticing the other day, which was kind of sad, but my mother's favorite time was sitting with her 3 grandchildren blowing bubbles in the backyard on Sunday morning. And I noticed a video I just recently posted on social media. It was kind of the last year of her life, and she had been kind of involuntary moving. So those are the major signs. Unfortunately, not to get too long-winded, there is no actual cure and there is no actual test for Parkinson's. What they do is a battery of other tests and blood work, and they try to rule out other diseases and issues. And if they rule that out, it's Parkinson's, which is not really, honestly, the most effective, but that's what the tools are, and hoping that plan, if it passes, can also help the medical field improve.
Wow. Wow. Do you think, George, I'm curious, I know you mentioned about the bill that would increase funding, and I'm assuming that funding would it be for both caregivers for different resources and help, but also for additional research?
Yeah, that's the main goal, I believe, because obviously even us talking, I hope I don't have to keep doing this because I want to cure. But there was a big breakthrough last year through the Michael J. Fox Foundation, who does research, and it's called the biomarker. And basically, it's a big leap forward in understanding Parkinson's. Researchers have discovered a new tool that can reveal the pathology of the disease. And I don't have a lot of scientific background, but I believe that, and I don't know if I would do this because I'm actually having my own third spine surgery coming in May, which I'm not looking forward to. I have a lot of back issues, but there's a new technique that they might be able to inject a needle into your spine and determine if you have Parkinson's disease or not. And that's the first time in our history that anything has come that kind of pretty far close to groundbreaking research. But if anybody listening wants to do more, you just look up biomarker, Michael J. Fox, and Parkinson's disease.
Wow. And I know I've taken a look, a lengthy look at the different videos in your website, which is just so robust, and you can just it resonates with your passion and commitment and love for your mom. How did that come to be of from the start of caring for your mom, and I know you shared, obviously, your mom passed, to so many different antennas or tentacles or whatever you want to call them, different moving pieces and parts, because it's a very robust website with lots of resources that just, again, it resonates with your passion to find a cure. I'm just curious how that developed.
Sure, yeah. I mean, my mother passed like unexpectedly. Like I'm still 4 years later in shock, still grieving. Being here with you both today and your listeners actually helps me still cope because there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't miss her. She was my best friend. Even saying it is not easy still today. I mean, we spoke 10, 20 times a day. It wasn't like they say a normal, I guess it should be, but it wasn't the normal, relationship with some families. But she was the first person I turned to for advice, for good, and for things that were negative. She was right by my side in my law school graduation, my 3 master's degrees, everything. I don't think I would be the man I am today if it wasn't for her sacrifices. She was a middle school teacher of little children and had a master's in psychology and gave it all up and sacrificed to take care of me and my brother. So when the time called, in a way, I swore that I would do anything to keep her comfortable. I kept her at her own home. We actually bought a brand new home in Boca Raton for her, only a few blocks away from us. Unfortunately, I saw the picture the day she walked in. She was so happy that that was the last year of her life, which was the worst. So she never even got to really enjoy it. But I think I just believe that she was really, and me, robbed in a selfish way of her life. And we had so many more memories, her grandkids growing up. My daughter loved her. My smallest one might not remember her, which is horrifying. That's another reason why I'm working on a kid's book too, because I still have trouble today trying to explain to my children what the heck happened. Because again, like I said a million times, you're not supposed to, die that young or even at all from Parkinson's disease. And I'm not a medical doctor, so I always say see your own medical doctor and a specialist in movement disorder. But in my view, in my experience, it's still something that we haven't figured out and discovered. I personally feel we don't have a reason, anyone, as to how you get Parkinson's or why. I feel it's the environment. My mother lived in a beautiful home, but didn't really keep it up like I guess she could. But any home 20 years old is not going to be easy to keep up. She had mold, she had termites. We took care of it, but who knows what they sprayed. But she again was very healthy. So I think part of the motivation was to keep her memory alive, to help teach others. When I was going through caregiving, I felt alone. So I started 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗏 for her memory, and I just wanted all the resources in one place, completely free. And I always say, which you probably shouldn't, but I don't literally ask for anything. Like everything's completely free, no catch. I don't want money. We don't accept money. We've returned money. We do have a donation section, but that's linked to special organizations like Michael J. Fox, and it's all them. It's nothing. It's just in memory of my mother. So it's pretty amazing. You can click on it, and it goes to them. So I don't have to deal with any of the dramas, IRS, the tax. I don't want any of that. I actually I've embarked on a few journeys. One is in 2023. I learned that, again, I thought there were 1 million people in the U.S. I didn't even think that there were 10 million around the world. So I decided last year for the first time that this wasn't about me and my mother anymore. And that's when I embarked on my own inner journey of interviewing 600 people, including you, throughout the world for awareness. And like because you're proof I don't charge. I don't want anything except people to know what you're doing, because you inspire, both of you inspire me. And I just feel that we need everyone to know what you're doing. And every morning when I want to give up, or some nights I still don't sleep thinking about my mother or others that are suffering, it pushes me to keep going. And I've just kind of finished that book. I wish it was out today. It's coming out next month. But that was about my mother and our journey in 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀. And now I'm shifting to something else that I find very important to my heart. I'm not diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I'm no longer a caregiver of someone living with Parkinson's. Well, I've found in my experience in the last 4 years, there's a segment of the population like me who's really forgotten, and that's people who lost a loved one due to Parkinson's, because it's a tough topic. You know, we have a beginning, middle, and an end of life, and nobody wants to talk about, like your show, in a way, the end of life. I believe in talking about tough topics, or we're never going to have good resolutions. So my next book, which is actually somehow it's almost done, is in memory of all the caregivers and those who passed due to Parkinson's, because it's not anyone's fault that they didn't make it till we had a cure. And it breaks my heart even talking about it, because I often look for support and I don't see it because they just don't want to include me for some reason. So in a way, I'm thankful for not just you all, but 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, because it has been a voice for me and my mother, but to so many others. And just last note, it's funny, I thought we'd started maybe 10 people would see it. And there's a little, I'm not supposed to say it, there's a little hidden counter somewhere on the front page. And the other day I looked, and there's over 30,000 people have viewed the website. And that's like something that you just can't take away.
Wow. Yeah, I know, you know, very different, but similar in the sense of uncomfortable conversations, uncomfortable topics. Susie and I have found, even through the short time that we've been doing this program, that there are so many people out there that are seeking education, seeking resources, but also seeking confirmation that there are others like them out there that are just seeking support, you know, just whether it's through communication, whether it's through venting, whether it's through, you know, sharing resources as a whole. I think we're just people are people for the most part, that are just seeking for support, you know, virtual hugs, real hugs, those types of things. And what gives you joy, George? Like, I know you've got, am I correct that you've got a daughter and 2 boys?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely, even now they're on spring break, so thankfully you don't hear any screaming in the background. But yeah, they give me joy. But I mean, I love work. I like learning. I'm a professor, so I love, you know, there's only so much you can do, even though I probably limited myself. I just quickly, I know we don't have tons of time. I would like to get back to the stomach, because a lot of shows, unfortunately, don't bring this up, but I don't even know where to start. That would be a different time. But she couldn't sleep. So the last year, my mother didn't sleep at all. So we had to spend $12,000 a month. And I don't know what to call them. They're not really caregivers, but I hire companies to come in just to kind of, in a way, babysit so she wouldn't fall. But she literally couldn't sleep because of her stomach. So we had to have, and I'll never talk about it, we had to have people, you know, enemas, thousands of enemas, and fiber pills even I take now. I mean, I learned a lot from my mother, but seeing her tortured, I don't know what was worse, the dementia, Parkinson's, or what it did to her, to crippling the stomach. And it was really hard for her to even, you know, go out of the house the last year. And I mean, you two are the experts, but I mean, there's so much more to talk about with that topic that people aren't enough.
Yeah. I think what we, you know, what we try to do in our philosophy as manufacturers of high performing incontinence products, our goal really is to, number one, share insights and things learned of how to improve continence care first, because the reality is we do want people, all of us, right, want to have a good night's sleep and want the gut to feel good and so forth. So, you know, so we're all about looking at if medications have a side effect, evaluating those person by person to see if there are issues that can go away, whether it's dosing or time of day or how other food, nutrition, and everything plays in. But we're all about improve incontinence care first. And then if you can't, or you take it from one level to a better level, so someone's less incontinent, but they may still have to use a product, then we say, okay, well, we've got a whole line of different products that help people sleep uninterrupted through the night, or be able to leave the house without worry of a potential embarrassing situation. So it's almost like the products are, in a sense, the conduit to better social and clinical outcomes. Susie, I don't know if you have stuff to add on. I'm sure you do, to kind of our overall philosophy around that.
Well, we're trying to help people not feel isolated, and help them to know that there's options out there. And sometimes just having that conversation can be the first step. So just as you, George, I just want to applaud you for taking, all that you've gone through with your mom, the pain, the loss, and it's as if you're turning it into a positive force in the world, because you're trying to reach out and give people information and give them resources. And it's not like you're trying to take from them. You even mentioned, we don't accept money. You're giving and you're loving back how you felt the love and the gift of your mom in your life. So I applaud that, because there's not a lot of people or organizations out there that are all about the giving. And that's a wonderful thing. So I know you mentioned there's an event coming up and about the Michael J. Fox.
That's the first. There's actually a few, which is I'm for it. You'd be shocked. South Florida's, primarily, I believe, the elderly population. I fit in because I feel like I should. I just love that's my crowd. I'm not a loud party guy, but again, the topics that you two cover, and this is very important to me, and I think it's very critical to speak about tough topics. And I've done a lot of these, but there's never been one with your topic, which is why I was so excited to come on today. And I just think it needs. That's why I was so excited too. You were able to do our interview Together for Sharon, because I've done 600, and we're actually yours is going to be in. We're going to publish 4 books coming, and each one, and obviously I don't charge and all that. They'll be in the world, but they're going to be a mixture of advocates, those who are diagnosed, and people around the world trying to make an impact on Parkinson's and other areas. But I look for unique people, and you were one of them that made me go, this is amazing. I think what you do is amazing. And like I said, I want the world to know about what you all do also, because I don't think there's enough out there for it. And I feel like we're all a team in this, or if we're all going to go in our own ways like it's done before, we're never going to find awareness, and we're never going to be closer to a cure. So, again, I'm grateful for both of your friendship too. And one last note, I know we don't have as much time, but I usually say this after my podcast and every show I'm on, but this is just a message for you both, and along with you, and to all your audience. This is from me and my family, but we love you, we support you, and we care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I will advocate for you, and together our voices are so much stronger. And I always say I'm just getting started, even though I haven't, but it's because of people like you, both of you, who I didn't know about, and I found about, I learned about in your journey, and now we're sharing it with the world. But when I go to sleep tonight and think I'm done, I realize that there's so many more journeys out there that I'm not aware, and the only journey that breaks my heart is the one that the world is not aware of, and that's why I still keep doing. I keep fighting, and I'm never going to stop until either I time out or we find a cure. So again, thank you both and your listeners, and it just means the world to me.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for being our guest today. And we've learned a lot to you. And yeah, we definitely, George, would like to continue the friendship. I'd like to meet you at some point. You're in South Florida. I'm in Central Florida. There's no reason why not, right?
And, come visit me. I'm at a table at every event here. And
okay.
Actually, last week I went to beautiful. They had the 𝗂𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 ballet. And once a year, again, a thing that doesn't have enough awareness, we donated, but they have once a year. It's beautiful. Last thing is, so they have a performance, and it's little ballerinas with people with Parkinson's disease. So it's like 8 people, and they just come together, and it's just so beautiful to see for that moment the people who are struggling. They don't think about it because they're actually dancing with the best. Some of them are in the chair, but it's just beautiful to see the young girls and the ballerinas with the people with Parkinson's, and it just changes your life. It's just not enough awareness. People, it's a small little stadium. There's only like 20 people. They should be sold out, and literally they should be donating millions. But we do what we can, and we work hard to let people know they're out there.
Yeah, yeah. We have a teammate too that oversees Florida. Actually, for our company, there are 3 of us, 2 of my other teammates in Florida. But we get involved with a lot of different events. So we'll definitely continue the conversation offline for sure. Done some in the past, right in Florida, and I know that that's something that we'll continue to support. So yeah, so we appreciate you very much. Thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you.
And, yeah, Susie, any last parting words?
Just thank you, George. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I enjoyed hearing your story. Thank you.
Thank you both too.